This is Jerod Lakefield, a novel by Don Fensler, Part 13. Incident. We were all in kind of a daze with our new Jerod Lakefield-inspired existence, so while we celebrated our victory in the locker room, the celebration was rather fucking muted. After all, it wasn't fucking us, it was Jerod Lakefield. So we hugged and jumped some, but not for long, and then it was time to go home. We had just witnessed another Jerod Lakefield show, and it was time to go home to bed and to contemplate in our teeny, dainty, precious fucking little brains that, as both basketball players and coaches, every day had become a fucking whoop-de-doo Christmas morning in the snow thanks to Jerod Lakefield. Or so we thought as it was time to go home to bed. We were already in a state of, who is this man? And then the Jerod Lakefield show added another fucking mind-boggling episode to his repertoire. We were walking out of the Williamsburg gym. It was pretty late, past 10 p.m. Jerod Lakefield, Luke Hucks, a bench warmer, and I were walking to my car. I noticed Jerod was heading back to the back door of my car. This seemed odd. He belonged in the front. Didn't the star belong in the front and the bench warmer in the back? Luke looked surprised too. Then something shook us out of this stupid fucking petty speculation and wondering. A fucking menacing, meth-crazed looking man, was coming right at us. The man was white, dirty, skinny, hungry looking, and this pillar of the community had a fucking gun in his hands. "Give me your money," he said, "or I'll shoot you motherfuckers." He seemed out of control, swaying from side to side, coughing, wheezing, a fucking crazed look in his eyes. He was obviously no one to mess with. He looked so washed out and desperate, like a sick, rabid dog. He looked like the type who would shoot us for nothing, with all the forethought of a normal person would scratch their butt. It was obvious he had nothing to lose in life, and I was scared, ready to shit a fucking brick sideways, and so was Luke. Jerod Lakefield did not seem scared in the least. He was as cool as a fucking cucumber. He was cool as a fucking cucumber popsicle. In fact, the bastard was acting like he hadn't even heard the guy with the gun. It was a moonless night, very quiet. No one around but us three and the meth addict with the gun. Jerod kept walking towards the car. Then he stopped. Oh, so fucking coolly and calmly. He had his hand on the door handle of my car. He looked up at the guy. He looked at him. The guy with the gun was looking at him, too. There was this eerie pause, this silence, the darkness, the shimmering from the school lights, the street light. "What do you want?" asked Jerod Lakefield of the man. There was no edge to his voice. He might as well have been asking the methy for the fucking time of day. The methy seemed to forget he was in charge, that he had the gun. "I want money," he said weakly now, totally without conviction. Then it was like he woke up and resumed his role of the crazed meth addict after money for a fix. "Give me your money, your watch, your phone, or I'll blow your freaking head off, a-hole." I was weirdly impressed that the guy didn't want to use the word fucking or asshole in front of Jerod. "Now what do you want?" asked Jerod Lakefield. "What do you want?" Shit, my God. What was he doing? He might cause the fucking guy to go ballistic with a lame question like that, but somehow I felt safe. My logic said we could be dead at any moment. Jerod was making things worse, my logic said, but I felt at ease, like I wanted to watch. I wanted to see what Jerod Lakefield would do next. "I want money," the man said, almost in a whisper. He was gasping for air, agitated. He could do anything now. He looked away from Jerod Lakefield, then looked back at him. It was like he wanted to look away, but he couldn't look away. I had to control an urge to turn and run. Luke Hucks had no shame. He was crying, weeping quietly. I don't know if he was crying because he thought he was going to fucking die, or because he thought that he was completely safe. I knew that now, for some fucking reason, I felt perfectly safe. I have no fucking idea why I would feel that way, as there was no reason for me to think I was fucking safe right now. Put the gun on the ground and I will call a doctor, Jerod said. You are sick. You need a doctor. Jerod walked over to the guy. The guy had the gun dangling from his index finger, but still in a position where he could grab the gun again and shoot us. What is your name? Said Jerod, as he reached out slowly and calmly and took the gun away. What is your name? What the fuck is he asking? Luke and I looked at each other, fucking incredulous. Our jaws were scraping the fucking pavement. Stephen, said the man. Jerod Lakefield turned and looked at us. Will one of you please call an ambulance for Stephen? I don't think Jerod had a cell phone. No fucking cell phone. This whole scene was unbelievable. I did as Jerod said. My voice was so quiet, the dispatcher had to ask me to repeat the request for an officer and ambulance several times. Stephen. After the police came and took Stephen away, we were all initially like fucking balloons that had the air sucked out of them by a fucking jet engine-powered vacuum cleaners. But that was replaced soon by little kitty hero-worshipping excitement. Just when it didn't seem possible that Jerod Lakefield could be any more fucking cool, he had become even more fucking cool because of the incident with Stephen. But when Luke and I got all bubbly and tried to talk about what happened, Jerod Lakefield raised his hand up slowly and politely fucking shushed us. He didn't want to talk about it. I am tired, he said. Then, with a weary half-laugh, said, this kind of thing is not good for me. He laughed without saying another word. He just walked off, disappeared around the corner. Walked off and disappeared into the dark night. I have no idea how he got home. Who is this man who plays basketball like it has never been played before and takes guns away from crazed drug addicts like he's fucking Clint Eastwood in High Noon? And then I was suddenly tired too. I wanted to go home. I wanted to be with Jennifer, my beloved wife and best friend. I wanted to talk to her and cherish every moment with her. I felt bizarre. Luke and I said nothing and just got into the car, and I took him home, and then I went home and collapsed in bed next to Jennifer, too drained to change out of my clothes or take a shower. It was like Jennifer knew something was up and let me lay there as is. By the way, Stephen was taken into a drug rehabilitation home. Jerod told the police we were never in danger, that Stephen just needed a doctor. Luke and I, of course, saw things differently, but this was Jerod's event, so we didn't protest. Stephen easily could have shot us. We could have died. Jerod saved us. It was our event, I guess, but not really. It was Jerod Lakefield's event, so no charges were pressed. Who is this man that can calm and disarm madmen with guns the way a mother calms a naughty child with a fucking rattle? Who can shoot the eyes out of a fucking basketball hoop from anywhere on the court like no one in history, and he can calm anyone, anywhere. End of part 13.